Holden had written a script for this one. The perfect end to a perfect weekend for the king of Supercar. 3 weeks ago, New Zealand played host to the international debut of Shell Series competition, and the locals sure went home happy. There was a big burst of rain, and no shortage of pain. But on home turf, the Murph was untouchable. Pole position and 3 wins ahead of stablemate Mark Scaife, who wrapped up his 4th Shell Series crown. It's been one heck of a year, but there's a few more who want to settle a score. Get ready for the V8 Ultimate end of the season showdown as we welcome you to Melbourne's Sandown Park. Final round of the 2001 Shell Championship Series, exclusive to your home of motorsport, Network 10.
Good afternoon and welcome to Sandown for the V8 Ultimate Round 13 of the Shell Championship Series. It's the final one for the year. Now, the title may already be decided after Mark Scaife wrapped it up in New Zealand 3 weeks ago, but there's still so much to drive for. There's a fabulous scrap-on for second place in this championship, and 3 drivers are in with a shot for that runners-up position. Now, the team that stands to win the most from this battle is the Holden Racing team. They're trying so desperately to get their man Jason Bright up there into second behind Scaife to get the team's first ever 1-2 in the Shell Championship Series. We have 2 fabulous days of action here from Sandown, 3 150-kilometre events, the first of which is today, 2 races tomorrow, and compulsory pit stops in all 3 events for tyres. Now, the battle will unfold in one of Australia's most historic and famous motorsport venues, Sandown International Raceway. It's a fabulous circuit. It's fast, it's flowing, and very entertaining. We'll see the cars reach speeds of around 260 kilometres per hour. Time now to check the championship points table, and of course we know that Mark Scaife is uncatchable, that massive margin of 570 points, but look how close it is between Ingle, Bright and Murphy. They are the 3 drivers that we must focus on this weekend. Another position can change. There's plenty on the line too for Steve Johnson. He really wants to stay Ford's top man, and we go all the way back to Marcus Ambrose in 10th. But really, the pressure is firmly on Russell Ingle's shoulders, and he's with Barry Sheen right now.
So, Russ, it's all a bit of a heavy pressure weekend for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big fight for second place. Fight of the first losers in the championship.
So how are you going to approach it?
Mate, I really have to finish. There's a couple I have to obviously finish in front of, Bridie and Murph, and we have to really push ahead. And look, ultimately, you're still going to go for the win, though. I mean, you can't bug around. It'd be nice to finish runner-up in the championship, but mate, I want to go for the win. Why not?
So you're not going to get fined or anything like that, are you?
No. How's that fine-free for the whole year? Can you believe that, Baz? Like, I can't believe it.
That's totally amazing. So, as far as Brighty is concerned, he's your main competition. How's your thing compared to his?
Well, I think we've got ours fast enough now. Over race distance is always an unknown. You never know whether it's going to be there or not. But, I mean, fingers crossed. We've had some good results here before. I think it'll be all right. But Murph's lurking around too, so we have to be a bit careful.
So we can rely on you to stay out of trouble anyway this weekend?
Not at all, Barry.
That's good. Why ruin a tradition?
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Russ.
Cheers, mate.
Quite an historic this weekend, really. It's the first time in the history of the Shell Championship Series that a round has been run in December. And Neil Crompton, many people might say the championship's already been decided. It's December. We should be at the beach.
Well, that's possibly true, but there's always a lot at stake in this paddock, as you well know. And the situation for the minor placings is well documented. There's going to be great pressure in that battle. But up and down the paddock and throughout the pit lane, there's a whole lot of subplots as well. People wheeling and dealing, drivers making sure that they're not the one that's left out when the musical chairs stops. Commercial deals are at stake. People are trying to put in good performances at the end of the year. Teams are trying to sow the seeds for their deals in 2002. And I think probably the most exciting aspect of the weekend is really this new format. We've not seen this before. It's all new. A 1-hour race in its own right, no big deal. But to stick them back to back over a couple of days, that's a tough task. Physically a tough task, and from an engineering standpoint a tough task. And as always, there'll be a certain amount of chaos and everybody tries to be the hero.
From a driver's standpoint, how important is it to start and to finish the year on a high note?
Well, it's very important for the reasons I outlined there before, Lee, because in this game you're only as good as your last result, and again, everybody can't be the winner, so there's going to be some losers, and that always means that there's chaos, as I said before.
Well, someone who's trying to finish the year on a very high note and win his first Shell Series race is Marcus Ambrose. He's with Mark Osler.
Well, without doubt, the top Ford rookie this year has been Marcus Ambrose. He's found himself in the top 15 shootout again. Marcus, you've taken 3 pole positions this year. Can you do it again here?
We'll try. Those Tom Walkinshaw cars look pretty good out there. They've got great top speed, and they're going to be hard to beat, but we've got as good a chance as anybody, I guess.
Now, you've been a bit of a pain in the neck for those TWR cars this year, but I believe this weekend you got a problem with your own neck. What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish it was a good story, but basically I woke up on Friday morning and couldn't get out of bed, so I was lucky to get to the track, really, and I've been fighting it all weekend, but, yeah, we'll be there for the race.
Wish you all the best today.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, another young gun hoping to do well, and this time we're in the Holden camp, is Todd Kelly. Yesterday in qualifying, he was the fastest man on the circuit at Sandown, a 1:11.5. You're wound up like a bit of a spring at the moment, getting set for the top 10 shootout, or top 15 shootout, I should say. Can you replicate that today?
Well, the car's definitely capable of it. This is probably a little bit tricky, this circuit. It's just a matter of hitting all the curbs at the right angle. There's a couple of corners that are very critical that you do have to ride the curbs, and if you're a little bit off, it can really mess your lap up. So if you get them all right, yeah, I'm sure I can have a good go at it.
It's been a formative year for Kmart. I know the deal came together very late in the piece, but gee, it's at the end of the season, things are peaking for both you and Greg.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's hard to get 15 guys to work like a well-oiled machine, I guess, when they're all new, but we've certainly come on in the second half of the year, and I think if we can maintain this form, it'll be a really good year next year.
Cheers, Todd. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
He clobbered them in New Zealand, and he's right in the middle of the scrap for second in the championship. Could this be another stellar weekend for Greg Murphy? We'll find out real soon.
Well, welcome back to Sandown Raceway, where we have some exciting new technology at this tiny little pill. It's a transmitter which drivers will swallow, designed by NASA and used for the first time around the world in this application of motorsport. We've had a few drivers this weekend who are swallowing it to record core body temperature. Glenn Seaton has been the first one to drop down that pill and swallow some information. Glenn, how's it going?
So far it's been great, Grant. We got a lot of information, and I look forward to seeing that information in the future and hopefully make an improvement.
We've got a few guinea pigs alongside you from Ford Motor Company as well, who will be swallowing that pill shortly. But Frank from Ford, it's exciting new technology used for the first time. What is its intention?
Basically, technology developed by a company called HTI Tech that actually, as you said, developed it for NASA. It's used in a whole lot of industries as well, but it's used to monitor the core temperature of the drivers. By doing this, it allows us to get some baseline studies on the drivers, and we can use those to see whatever modifications we make to the driver's immediate environment is actually working. So the idea is to avoid heat stress and hypothermia.
Okay, let's watch them take it now. Paul Will, Steve Ellery, drop away. Hard to swallow, easy to go down?
That's a big pill, very hard to swallow.
Well, best of luck this weekend. It's just another cutting-edge way that Ford is trying to take more wins in this super competitive competition.
The weather outlook for day one of the V8 Ultimate. Well, there is some threatening rain. It says partly cloudy, north-northwest winds and a maximum temperature of 19 degrees Celsius. We'll wait and see later this afternoon if that weather holds. Now, to give you an indication of where we are, for the final time this year, we visit the state of Victoria. We're around about 20 kilometres southeast of the CBD in Melbourne at Sandown International Raceway. 3.1 kilometres. We race in a clockwise direction. There's probably about 3 or 4 key overtaking points, and the main one is heading down into turn 1, and it's a very exciting place. Well, for the final time of the year, we do the top 15 shootout as well. Todd Kelly was quickest after normal qualifying. Larry Perkins, another good effort. He was up there in the top 8. He was quicker than Russell Ingall. And of course, we've mixed it up this year. Top 10, top 15. And we go all the way back to Glenn Seaton. He's the first to kick it off in the final shootout of the year.
First man on the circuit is Glenn Seaton in the top 15 shootout as he comes on to the main straight to start his hot lap. 36 years of age, originally from Sydney, and based himself down in Melbourne, has been down here for many years doing the FTR operation. It's been a long time between drinks for Glenn Seaton. Gets a little bit wide, a little bit untidy coming out of turn 1, puts it over the curbs, manages to gather it up, bounces the wheel over the curb there as he comes up toward Ford turn and points it onto the back straight. Critical corner this, and to get a good strong exit speed out of here. Really affects your terminal speed by the time you reach the S's at the end of the back straight.
Very important for Glenn Seaton and the Ford Tickford Racing organisation to have a positive end to this season 2001. And for Glenn, who currently sits in 15th position, a strong Sandown will be a nice way to end the year. It's no breaking news. It's quite commonly known that he has released Stephen Richards, his teammate, from his contract, and more than likely Glenn Seaton will be running back in a one-car team next year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that, because think back to the late 1990s, it was certainly at his most effective when he had a one-car operation, so maybe that could be the change in configuration for his team. It's going to make the difference for Glenn Seaton. A long time out of the winner's circle. Last time he won a round of the Shell Championship was back in '97. There's his time on 1:11.926.
Glenn Seaton has set the time to chase a 1:11.92. Here comes Super Cheap Racing's Steve Ellery, who has had a stunning year in 2001. And he too looking to end on a high note. Currently sitting 9th in the points, just ahead of Marcus Ambrose. And for a rather small team, it's been a very, very impressive effort this year.
Sure has. No shame being in the top 10 of the Shell Championship Series at this level of competition. They've been very effective as a one-car operation. And Steve Ellery, very fast in qualifying, just gets it up on the curbs there. Look at the difficulty here. Very, very hard to get the front tyre temperatures up to the required operating temperature for this one hot lap. You see the cars weave backwards and forwards in their warm-up lap. It's no problem getting heat into the rears when you're punching about 600 horsepower through them. But the front tyres, very, very difficult to get them up to the right temperature.
Ellery is ahead at the first split, so just a little over 1/10 of a second faster than Glenn Seaton. A very, very impressive run here at Sandown in the sprint round last year. Finished second overall behind Shell Helix Racing's Paul Radicic. Out of VB corner and nearing the end of his lap. And it's looking good for Ellery at that first split.
Final turn, punches it out of here onto the main straight. What can he do? Car 31, 27-year-old Steve Ellery from Chelsea in Victoria, now resides on the Gold Coast. And there it is, a 1:11.779. The Queenslander, Paul Morris, comes on to the main straight to start his hot lap. The big Kev racer has had a lot of bad luck this season, particularly with the new car built in-house by the big Kev Racing operation. Little lock brake there on the inside as he comes through turn one, just gets it up over the curb. You can see the car snaking and slipping sideways under power.
The first Holden out on the circuit, and Paul Morris is really wrestling this car onto the back straight now. The big Kev racer, and has recovered physically from that very, very big smash in New Zealand at Pukekohe in free practice, where he ran straight into the Armco barrier. Said he really gave his neck quite a severe jolt, and the car was really in a bad way. And he is slower than Stephen Ellery by 1/10 of a second at the split.
Under brakes down into VB corner, just misses the apex of the turn a little bit, gets a little bit untidy on the way out. Looks fast and spectacular, but when a driver's fighting the car like this, lock brakes, little puffs of smoke everywhere, it shows it's not quite settled. So Morris pushing very, very hard. As you said, it's very difficult to get the car absolutely in the zone for this one hot lap when you've only got one warm-up lap to do it.
Third car in the top 15, and Paul Morris is third fastest, a 1:12.34. I'm sure Paul would have hoped to have gone faster than that. It's been an incredibly steep learning curve for Cat Ford driver Simon Wills of recent times. After sharing the endurance drives with John Bow, he is now the Cat Ford driver, and he made his first solo run at Pukekohe on home soil, and the Kiwi did very, very well, and it's another first here at Sandown. This is his first top 15 shootout.
See Simon there really compensating. He was probably expecting a bit of understeer through that turn one. He really attacked the inside of the turn. He bounced both wheels up in the air. He manages to gather it up, just clips the witches' hats on the exit to turn 4 onto the back straight in the Caterpillar Ford, one of 3 cars, maybe 4 next year in the John Briggs stable out of Queensland. So a big expansion in the John Briggs Motorsport operation next year.
Plenty of pressure on Simon Wills. There's no room for error in this one lap dash, the shootout. You've got one lap to get it right. You make an error and you'll be punished on the time. And at the moment, Wills, as he pushes too hard and runs wide, he was 2.5 of a second down, and it will be even more now.
Yeah, he got that all wrong. Coming through VB, turning into the back straight. Just so difficult trying to push these cars to the maximum in this situation. Simon Wills, this is his first top 15 shootout, so the pressure really on as he comes on to the pit straight to complete the lap. A 1:12.805. That puts him 4th in the order. David Bernard in the Caltex Haviland Ford starts out on his hot lap, 24th in the Shell Championship Series. Has not been the championship the rookie would have liked. Certainly compared to his teammate Marcus Ambrose, has had a much better year. But Bernard has been re-signed by the Stone Brothers for next season, so they certainly have enough confidence in him to give him another try.
And he was just one position down on teammate Marcus Ambrose. Ambrose will be the next car out on the circuit, but this is David Bernard. And we mentioned that it's been a steep learning curve for Simon Wills. Well, it's certainly been a very interesting year for this young man. And he'll get a second shot at it, as Mark said, next year to really prove his worth. And there has been glimpses of the true David Bernard that we know from his open wheeler success. He's only a 1/10 of a second down. That is retrievable.
Stephen Ellery, the fastest man so far. Fords 1-2 at the top of the timing order at the moment in this top 15 shootout. Bernard gets a reasonable exit out of there, drops the wheel over the edge of the curb. Final series of corners here for David Bernard, 24 years of age, now living up on the Gold Coast near the Stone Brothers racing operation. Looking forward to a much stronger season in 2002. What can he do here at the final round in 2001 as he comes across the line? A 1:12.29, that puts him 3rd.
Pertec Ford's Marcus Ambrose, and as far as the shootouts are concerned, this guy has been amazing in season 2001. He shares 3 pole positions with the newly crowned champion Mark Skaife. He has never been on top after a normal qualifying session, but has excelled in the shootouts.
Yeah, tough stuff. He's been a brilliant rookie. A lot of things expected from this man in 2002. As he points it out of here, difficult series of turns. Got to get this turn right. You can see him on the warm-up lap, really giving those brakes a workout, trying to get as much brake temperature into those front wheels and hopefully gets that heat to transfer into the tyres. It is so tough getting these front tyres up to temperature for this one hot lap. Here he is up the back straight, 250, 260 k's on the approach to this daunting part of the raceway. Very fast left-hander, switches back to the right, then it's hard on the brakes down to Dandenong Road corner.
And for Marcus, he knows this circuit in a Formula Ford, but like so many other tracks this year, it's a fresh place in a V8 supercar. And he's shown on so many occasions how quickly he can adapt. And just reminding you, this is a top 15 shootout. We've had 5. Marcus is the first amongst the fastest top 10 as he comes to the line. Ambrose goes quickest, a 1:11.4, position number 1.
2 times Bathurst winner Stephen Richards comes on to start his hot lap, his final drive for Ford Tickford Racing. Has decided to leave the Glen Seaton run operation at the end of this season, so this is the final appearance for FTR for Stephen Richards. Just comes out of turn 1. Hasn't been a particularly successful season for him so far. 12th in the Shell Championship Series point standings. And heading in a different direction in 2002 to look at how he's fighting this car. Looks very, very untidy as he comes up toward turn 4.
It's been a frustrating weekend for Stephen because they have a fresh engine in this car. They were suffering in both the free practice sessions yesterday morning. They had an engine misfire. They put a brand new engine in it. He went out and only on his 2nd lap in qualifying was able to go 9th fastest. As he locks it up, gets a little out of shape. It's a bit untidy from Stephen Richards.
Yeah, hairy moment there as he came down toward VB turn, but he managed to gather it up. Enormously experienced, very good driver, Stephen Richards. Interesting to see where he ends up in 2002. 29 years of age, originally from Auckland, the son of the multiple Australian Touring Car Champion Jim Richards. Final turn on to pit straight. What can Stephen Richards do in his final appearance for FTR?
It's damage control from here. Richards goes 4th fastest, a 1:12.28. Russell Ingall in the Castrol Commodore, just 1 pole position. Not only this year, but in his entire V8 supercar career. Can he make it 2? He is so determined to finish this year on a high. The championship is beyond his reach, but he so desperately wants that 2nd position and wants to hold Jason Bright out. Qualifying will be a key to that.
Yeah, the Holden Racing team looking for their first 1-2 finish in the Shell Championship Series this weekend. This is the man who can spoil it for him. Russell Ingall may be fed up with playing the bridesmaid, but 2nd place is better than 3rd. You can bet he's going to be fighting hard this weekend to maintain that position for Castro.
Out-qualified by his teammate and team owner, Larry Perkins, who seems to be on a real spurt at the moment. Russell locks it up, across the back. A little bit of curb hopping.
Split may not be working at the bottom of your screen, but we're monitoring it here. I think Ingle was just a fraction faster than Ambrose at that point of the track, so this is looking very quick for Russell Ingle if he doesn't muck up the rest of this lap. Final turn, the Castrol Commodore, the Enforcer, is on the charge. Second in the Shell Championship Series, looking for pole position here.
Comes to the line, and Ingle goes second fastest, a 1:11.72. So a good performance from Russell Ingle.